Hi, good evening. It's um it's a Saturday evening here in Northern Maine, and I decided to do hopefully it will be a short video. I always said it's gonna be short, but sometimes I tend to go overboard. But I just feel I want to share a little bit on healing. And as I have been talking about, how to be able to get through this healing process. There's no shortcut. When I say there's no shortcut, just because our emotions are so intricate. Sometimes when we talk about one specific emotion, it's not really just that. And often when we talk about a situation, what we feel towards a certain situation, right? When we get stuck in an argument, a conflict or something that stirs up our emotion is usually more than one. It's not necessarily a singular emotion. So when we talk about go through healing process, like emotional healing, it's not gonna be like, let's do one item. Even though we intend to do that, but often when you're working on one specific emotion, during a specific event, okay, triggered by an event, and you will start to realize there's something else underneath. So as we're moving forward with this journey, you will start to realize, I thought I did it, and there's something else. And after you finish that something else, there will be another layer of emotion starting to come up to the surface, and you want to look at it and release it, right? Because if we don't release it with the intention to release it with that love and peace and send it back to the light, the divine light, then we can't really heal. And it's painful. Sometimes it's painful, yes, because we have to be able to get through that for the one last time, right? So we still have to feel that emotion. And so sometimes for some people, some of the emotional pain is just so unbearable for some people that it's just so difficult. And our subconscious tend to do that. If it's just too much, it just tend to kind of like bury it somewhere in the subconscious until at some point that you're ready, somewhat ready, then it's starting to come up to the surface and you're starting to realize, oh, I thought I did that one. Oh, I have not done that one yet. Oh crap, now I have to do that. So what made me to do this video is that this is actually a very personal sharing, and perhaps you do care or you don't care, it doesn't matter. My intention is just want to share with those of you who may still currently struggling with some of the stuff that hit you so hard in your past. That seems like it's uncontrollable fear. When we talk about losing the sense of control, we all want to be able to control everything that in our life, and we know it's impossible. The only thing that we can control is how we feel towards a situation, how we feel internally, okay? How we respond and what we choose to see the world, right? So we can't really control everything else around us. We have to learn to accept that. And obviously, it's not an easy task because it just takes practice. And it'll take that discernment as we develop our discernment to see the truth, not just on the superficial, what we're seeing in front of us. So here's one of the biggest things that I have been sort of brushing off or to avoid, right? Avoidance is one of the common tactics that we all use. We try to avoid the pain, right? We find a way not to talk about it, not to think about it. But sometimes subconscious has its own way to kind of review it on its own, right? And so as I'm doing a lot of inner work and shadow work, and things starting to come up, and what happened to me in the past, that as a child I always felt like I have no control over my own well-being, over my own happiness, because everything that I was doing was just completely based upon what my parents expected me to do. Even though sometimes certain things that kind of make sense as a child, this is what you were supposed to do, but then as things are being, unfold, that you're starting to realize, wow, really? This is really ridiculous. Really? And starting to see things that are kind of like out of proportion and out of control, right? Just because all the people around me, they're also very much out of control. Therefore, they project that. My apology, that's actually my dog's snoring. So you have to deal with that, okay? This is not so much of a professional video, but at least this is a raw video, as all the rest of the videos I've done. But anyhow, so the sense of insecurity, because when you don't have the control in your life, you just feel so helpless, you feel so there's not much you can do. You feel like you're trying to survive through each day, and that's not even a sense of purpose, because whatever you're doing, it seems like you are just being in the passive mode. It's really ridiculously painful to get through each day, to feel that way. So as a child, I'm pretty much among many of you who understand what I talk about when you don't have the control, when you don't feel like you are safe, when you felt like, what's next now? What is the next trick? What is the next punishment? What's gonna come after me next? You are constantly on a survival mode. So, okay, baby boy. Okay, baby boy. Can you wake up for a second? Yeah. I love my dogs. They are my lifesavers. Okay, anyways. So what I realized since last night, since something that triggered, obviously, old memories. And what happened was that I lost 2 people in the past. Lala, hey, can you wake up for a second? I lost 2 people to murder-suicide, and one was back in 2011. One was back in 2016, and I've been working on the grieving process. I think it's just not about just the grieving process. I think it's just what hit me really hard was what I realized. What hit me really hard from last night was that when you're watching on the news live, and when you're watching somebody that you truly care and love, somebody who's close to you, at least you consider that person as important, a good person, and something bad is happening, and you saw the SWAT team was standing by, and you are simply just watching in front of the live feed to hope, and hope something good can happen, to hope that maybe they can rescue this person, to not knowing maybe this is just a wishful thinking, the fear, the sadness, the anger and confusion, and all you can do is just watching on the screen. And then when you realize, oh, shots were fired, and then you realize that's too late. That kind of feeling of losing control, I always feel like losing control of my own life, in the past, was bad enough. I think that wasn't bad enough because I can still make my own choice to do something about it, because that's my own life. But what is even worse, what hit me really hard last night, when I finally recognized what is truly hit me so hard that I cannot let go, was that I don't have the control over somebody that I love and I care. And you have to watch things unfold in front of you that you cannot do absolutely nothing to see the end of it. And that will be, to me, that will be way worse. That something bad happened to me, that I couldn't make the best decision to do something to change the outcome. Because at least I will own up to my own decision making within this, the circumstance. Obviously, while you're being stuck in a situation, how can you do something about it and make some changes, right? Whether you're trying to escape, whether you're trying to survive, whether you're trying to make a happier life, you can hold yourself accountable for your own decision making, your own action. But when you are being put in a situation where you cannot do anything, and you just watch and be the witness of absolutely the worst outcome of it. Just like a lot of parents when there is when there was a active shooting at school, when the parents just really don't know what truly happened and they're worried sick about it. I'm sure many of you, if you really happen to stumble upon this video, you probably will be able to understand what that means, when you just not knowing what could have happened to my loved ones. That sense of not having control, not knowing what's going on, and you just worry sick about it. And for me, what hit me really hard was like when I saw the one glimpse of my friend being pulled back by her ex-husband, or husband at the time, being pulled back and shut the front door. That was the last glimpse of that face that I could see. And that's it. The next thing you know, they both died. And I think that just always, I will never forget about that screen, that moment, because that was the last moment that I saw her. And so I think it's just the healing process is that I think we all have to be able to, number one, really have to be able to forgive the fact that a lot of times we really want to do more. We really hope that there's something we can do, but we can't. And even though we know intellectually we cannot do something about it, but just watch it and just to sit and wait until you find out what is truly going on. But we still have to kind of forgive, because without doing that, it's gonna eat us up alive, and that's not the way to go. And to reflect, to dig deeper on what is it that's hurting me, what is it in the situation that hits me so hard, what else. And I did different times about this particular tragedy that I have done multiple times of healing. I swear I did multiple times, but it's for different reasons, for different emotions. And so for last night, it was really about the fear of losing control, and you have to watch it. So it's almost like folks who went to the war, okay, went to Afghanistan, Iraq, whatever, right? You watch your folks being killed, or you want to go and rescue, but you could not do it, and you just watch things just being blown up and being shot at, that was really difficult, because the visual part, the smell, the sound, and everything, it really stays in your memory. And so for my situation in this case, it's just the sound, the visual, and then the end. At least I don't have to deal with the smell, right? Because I wasn't there. But can we imagine those people who really went through the PTSD, whether it's from domestic violence or any sort of violence, any sort of assault, and somebody just happened to get stuck in between and witness something that's horribly took place, and their loved ones, their friends, the people that they do care, whether they're being tortured, whether they're suffering from severe traumatic injuries, that you'll have to kind of like heal from that. It really takes time. I'm telling you, this is doable. I'm still saying this. It is doable, but it really takes a lot of due diligence. We have to be very gentle. We have to do it kind of like very, not necessarily walking on an eggshell, but we really have to be extremely mindful and gentle with ourselves when we go through healing like this. Because we have to be able to be brave enough to acknowledge what is truly going through our mind and what type of emotions got triggered. That we have to be brave enough to acknowledge those emotions, because again, I said that before, we have the right to feel the whole spectrum of emotions. That's really what makes us human, right? But not to dwell on those emotions or open a safety box and put in the emotion and lock in and put it into a subconscious, safety deposit, system, right? We don't want to just compartmentalize those emotions and those events. We really, at some point, we really want to kind of open it and really take a look, even take a peek of it, right? So how I did my healing process when it comes to, this is just one of the, traumatic event, according to my book. There are many others, of course, but this is just kind of like, something very different, because it didn't, like, it wasn't like something just happened to me directly or somebody just assault me directly. It's a different situation, obviously, but it still have a huge impact, and it still elicits something that I didn't really get connect with, that fear, the fear of losing control, that somebody is needing my help and I couldn't do anything about it because I was so freaking far away and I can only watch it on the screen when the news channel just giving us a live feed on what is going on right now. Standoff, SWAT team. It's not just one of the news that you will watch on the TV or on your laptop or on your cell phone. It's just because this is somebody that truly important. You know, somebody that you know, that you care. And that makes a huge difference, because very often when we saw something bad happen on the news, and we'll be like, oh, too bad, how sad. But because we don't know those people, we have enough compassion to really feel that, oh my God, I can't believe what these people went through. But then when somebody that you know really went through something that's horrible, they get hurt or they get killed, and that's a whole different level of feeling towards that sense of loss and perhaps even like injustice, right? So it is important for those of you who went through something that deeply, deeply scarred you, so to speak, in your heart. Some would say like part of my soul has been gone, you know, since that person left. And trust me, I understand at somewhat capacity to be able to have the empathy to understand that sense of loss. And when I say confusion, because you always wonder like how come, right? How come these type of things will happen to people? How come people would do that? Why, right? Of course, I'm not saying now, like now, of course I know why, you know. There are a lot of things happened in the world, it seems like don't make sense. They're just wrong on so many levels, and people don't have the right to hurt other people or even take other people's lives. And you know, I'm always saying the same thing. My biggest wish is that there will no longer any human trafficking. But as far as we knew, and we still know, that human trafficking, it's one of the biggest money-making business globally. That's why those people who run these organizations, you know, underground, to traffic, you know, people for labor, for sex, for organs, and everything else. I mean, these people just look at the profits, and they keep doing what they're doing, and there are a lot of innocent people will be taken advantage of and losing their well-being, their own identity as a human being, respect, their freedom, and even their lives. And so how can we look at those things in the world? How can we still be compassionate? when it comes to these people who are doing something that is so horrible towards other people. Is it really possible for us to be able to feel compassionate and understand that those people are not awakened yet? They are not able to see and be at some level of awareness to be able to do something better than what they're doing right now. Are we willing to accept the fact that these people who are doing something that is so bad to the humanity, that will destroy our world, our habitat, our people, our environment, are we really able to see beyond all those bad things and be able to still see the light and be the light for those who are among us? Can we really do it? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. But it really does take daily practice. Practice on allowing yourself to perceive the truth. Practice on the inner healing as we continue to do that due diligence. The inner healing is so important. Until we heal, we'll always feel like seeing things at certain perspective that we're stuck on that level of awareness. And so healing and forgiveness, technically, if we cannot forgive, we cannot truly heal. So it's going back to the same thing. Yes, it's going back to the same thing, but I just want to be able to share what and how many people are out there who are fighting their own battles. And you're not alone. You're really not alone. And I really wish all of you well. And I think in the future videos, hopefully it's not going to be like this depressed. I hope that you don't feel like this one is too depressing video. But I just want to share this little bit of something. And obviously, yes, I have my own tears. I did my own work, and I have to release and let go and send in the love and peace and the forgiveness towards myself and towards the so-called the villains, the bad guys, and we tend to like to label people, don't we? That has to be removed too. But anyways, so hopefully I get to do more healing work as far as for bringing us together and help each other to see the light within us, and help each other, for those of you who are open mind and open heart enough to be able to do some work together remotely. Hopefully something can be started on the Facebook page, on this One Love One Mind Facebook community page, because emotional healing ideally will be good when you have other healers to help each other at the same time while you are working on yourself, because that's kind of like everything else. When you pick up on a new skill, right? When you learn something new, you want to put it into action. So practice makes permanent. Okay, practice does not make perfect, because there's no such thing as called perfection. In this world, there's no such thing as called perfection. So practice only makes permanent. permanent, right? It's the permanent. You get everything that you learn to become solidified, right? So that is the goal, is to be able to make it becoming something that you feel like you are able to do it on your own, without relying on other people, to become self-sufficient, to become confident in doing what we do, to become something that you feel like there's a sense of joy and release and relief, and lighten yourself up to see and feel and experience the rewards from what we do, to encourage us to continue to do more. The rewarding system. When we do something that doesn't give us a lot of good, there's no outlook of seeing something that is positive, something is possible for you to get out of what you do, the chances for you to keep doing it will be really slim, because what's the point of doing that if I don't get something good out of it, right? Pleasure or pain, we tend to pick something that has some sort of rewards. The bigger the reward, we want to pursue what we want to do, right? Because we're going after the reward. That's how the brain works, okay? So even when it comes to healing arts, it's very important for us to understand that sometimes, especially at the beginning phase, once in a while you can feel, okay, I feel lighter, right? It doesn't really matter, by the way, whatever modalities that you are using, or you're feeling more comfortable, more drawn to, whether you do prana healing, Reiki, healing touch, quantum touch, any other thing, or like my version, which is just, it's I would call it like a modified version of theta healing / my own acuprana. So everybody has their own way to do healing, okay? Or even like now I'm doing qigong, so they all, in essence, is about the same way of doing healing, okay? They have a slightly different approach, so to speak, but then the healing itself is still coming from the divine. So the healing power is always coming back to the divine. But when we're doing the healing work, sometimes you will feel good for a little while, and then you may feel like you get set back, because all of a sudden you kind of hit the wall, like, oh my God, I got so stuck on this particular problem, like I cannot get over it. I remember I read somebody posted on a Facebook saying like, how do we deal with rage? And then I saw a lot of people give a lot of good feedbacks as far as for like, wow, our rage is something that is not good, that's why you brought it up. So you just have to, kind of like Tony Robbins said, that you gotta change your body, change your state, change your emotion, and do something different so that it will stop you. That's one way to do it. Very human, basic baby step, which is good. And some people will say that, hey, turn that rage into a power to do something more productive, and focus that energy into something else that could be really powerful, which is also true. That could be the first step to divert the energy into something else, so they can take some time when you are not crazy, right? When you're not in rage, then you can use other approach, other tools to be able to help to heal through that process, by looking really deeper onto like what exactly I'm angry, or even like having the rage towards that particular person or situation. So we have to be able to understand that sometimes when the emotions are so overpowering, you cannot do all those like and do healing when you are all like, I want to kill somebody. It's can work like that. You have to divert that energy, because it's so explosive. It's so it's just so out of control that you have to let that energy out immediately without hurting anybody, right? So whether you're gonna go and do some kickboxing, whether you're gonna go to run, for a couple hours, or do something else to release that excessive powerful energy, then once you calm down just enough, then you can really do the healing work. It's very difficult sometimes just to do healing work when somebody's just all heat up like, I know that because I went through that shit. I'm sorry. And talk about rage, yeah. I had those crap for years. It's not an easy task, but is it doable? Yes. Look at this person now. Rage, yes. Want to kill somebody, yes. Think about it every day. I thought about that shit all the time since I was a child. It's a fucking psychopath, you know. I always thought that I'm crazy. I always thought that why would I think about shit like that? Because I would just got so stuck into a space that is really not healthy, not safe, and not the right place for a child to grow up in, and without any other outlet to do anything to get some uh, guidance or even a therapy or counseling. You know that there's no such thing. So when when a person is not able to reach out to get any sort of support, even emotional support, or even just to talk, it's very difficult. So understand that when I talk about emotional healing, don't think that, oh, it's easy for you to talk about because you look at you, you know, you don't even know my shit, you know. I know a lot of times people will feel like my stuff you won't understand, you know. It won't work on me. Well, depending on the state of mind and your state of emotions, we have to find the right moment to do it, and that takes a lot of self-initiative and also willingness to really do those little steps. So again, it can be done. I can only say this: it can be done, no matter how bad your life path has been, no matter how shitty situations that you were in, and no matter how damaged that you can feel inside of you, no matter how numb or empty that you felt inside of you, there's always a way to heal. It's doable, but it takes time. It takes that persistence and consistency, the baby steps, and be patient. We have to be patient with ourselves when we're doing the healing work. And sometimes people already done a lot of work and they will give a lot of advices and do this, do that. Sometimes it just doesn't work like that because emotions are not the same as our intelligence. We can think and make a list of things, step 1, step 2, step 3. Sometimes it really just doesn't work that way, and we have to be patient with that process. And I want to tell all of you, for those of you who are really still struggling, don't give up. Don't give up. And even if you need to pick up a phone, right, get your cell phone and text and WhatsApp, you know, whatever the app that you use, and talk to one of your friends, your family members. Reach out to them. That's at least the least thing that you could do. And you know what? If you can't do any of those, you may want to do something that I did. I would talk to myself in front of a mirror. That's what I taught myself to do since I was a child. I know it sounds really silly and really pathetic, but that has been always my way of quote unquote coping. But you can make that even serve more than a coping mechanism, because that can also be very therapeutic when you're able to look at yourself in the reflection of yourself and talk to that person. And in fact, you may be surprised that that person in the reflection of that mirror can actually, perhaps can listen to you better than anybody else. Have you thought about that? Maybe you should try. Until next time, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And we got pretty cold, and we just had a storm yesterday, and things are kind of back to normal. So we're doing wonderful. As you saw, Rocky was taking a good nap and he was snoring. So I don't know. It's like a typical pit bull thing, but he snores. But I like his snores. I like the fact he snores. Anyways, but like I said, hopefully I can give out some more videos showing guys how to be able to boost your energy and also do some healing work through videos. And if you have any suggestions, again, visit my my Facebook page, One Love One Mind / right. So One Love One. So it's like facebook.com / One Love One Mind Infinity. Okay, then you should be able to follow or share or private message me, because this video I'm gonna upload to what was that called, YouTube and Ko-Fi. Okay, I will share it on that and Twitter, whatever. Just all this social media thing. I know I like it because I can talk to everybody, through the platforms. But I just like to talk and I like to share. I would love to do more healing work, especially like if I can do a group healing or meditation. For those of you who are open up, then we can do something like that, like a live together. That will be awesome. And that's something that I think that I can totally do. And yes, it's going to be a free event, obviously, but if we can set up something, if you're interested in it, please make sure you private message me, let me know, express your interest that you want to do it, and I will be more than happy to do Dustin healing for those of you who are interested in it. Okay, and I think that will be a wonderful thing to do and continue to do. This is something that I've done for the longest time. Just so that you guys know, that's just really something that I've been doing for a long time, for years. So anyways, that's it. I will zip my mouth until next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.